welcome back, guys. Modern Monks, episode 2. We made it through the first fortnight of having a live podcast floating around social media. A big thank you to everyone that has listened in, given us feedback, given us pros, given us cons. It's much appreciated. We're really looking forward to developing some great content for everybody.
Absolutely, yeah.
So, E, anything to say?
No, I just want to thank everyone who reached out as well. The first episode, it was a bit, it's not incredibly daunting, but it was like a whole process putting it all together, and we really appreciated a lot of the feedback that we got, and it meant a lot that some of you reached out and approached us, so thank you very much for that. And we hope you enjoy, the subsequent episodes to come, and yeah, we're fucking super pumped to get into this one, so let's get to it.
Awesome. So in episode 1, guys, we touched on people being afraid to turn purpose into passion and creating a job out of it. This week we're going to mix it up a little bit, and we're going to start by checking in with what we've been marinating on. Getting deep on in our own lives with the people around us, and try and give you guys as much insight to what's going on and the thoughts behind how we tick. So E, I'll let you take the floor. What's the big man been marinating on?
What am I not marinating on? That's probably the better question.
Take a seat, guys.
Yeah, everyone settle in for this. Basically, like the last couple of weeks have been a bit hectic. Since we last finished episode 1, a lot of stuff's been coming up in my clinic about resistance and pressure, and also about humility and learning to take accomplishment and failure with the same stride. So to learn from whenever I have a success and when I have a failure. And a lot of time in the last couple of weeks, I've noticed that I've had to catch myself in certain moments in which I've gotten a little bit too big for my britches. I've gone, oh, fuck, someone's pumped up my tires and now I feel really good. And then conversely, when I have a really crap experience, I just like, what am I doing? I need to reevaluate my approach. I need to double down.
What am I doing with life?
Yeah, what am I doing? Throwing everything to the
So is that resistance you're talking about, is that more personally than the people you're dealing with, or is it going both ways at the moment?
I think it's one of those things, like obviously we're under the philosophy and sentiment that nothing that happens kind of externally is really not coming from some sort of internal root. Whenever you have resistance of anything, you're going to find it in your life. If you have a good intention, you're going to find good intention around you. Whenever you have a bad intention, you're going to find bad around you.
Yeah, it's always an interesting thing, isn't it? Like if you pick yourself up, sort of resisting something, like we do it all the time to each other, and it's so funny. Like we do it taking the piss.
Yeah.
But as soon as you take a step back, you realize exactly the way you're responding to a situation is how people are going to respond back to you.
Absolutely.
It drives me mental. It's like, I'm the key. I'm the one.
Yeah.
It's all on me.
And that's the toughest thing to realize is like, everyone hears a lot about in this day and age about taking extreme ownership for the situation and everything being, you being responsible for your actions and also the things that happen to you. But that's obviously easier said than done sometimes. Sometimes it's overwhelming, like it had been for me during some aspects of the last 2 weeks, couple of days. I just had some bad headspace, but it was more the humility aspect that we were talking about before that I kind of got leveled a few times, and I had a few interesting kind of interactions with some clients.
And we did speak about this earlier in the week, and I'd love for you to share it with everyone because it's such a relevant thing and something that people don't check in with. Like there's little things happen to us, and they're like little alarm bells the universe sends to say, hey, like get back. By the way, it could all fall apart at any moment. So I'm really, really excited for you to share this with everyone because it's an absolute crack up. But it happens to everyone.
Yeah, and then it does, and I think it's one of those classic moments that, yeah, like Will says, it does happen to everyone. But I feel like from the first episode, I had that van story, and I just feel like this is going to be every episode is me sharing the embarrassing moments of my life. But
yeah, I've got some embarrassing ones.
Yeah, well, let's get to that next for sure.
Kidding. Everything's perfect.
Everything's perfect. Yeah.
I wish.
So last week, actually the week before, I got a new patient come in, and she inquired online about my services, and I was like, well, look, I really think I can help, and I kind of went from that humble, acupuncture does help, but let's get you in here and make a decision, as opposed to what I'm generally thinking, which is acupuncture's the bee's knees. I would love you to get you in here and for me to help you. Anyway, so she comes in and she had all this pain in the neck and upper back. I really hope she's not listening, by the way. She had this pain in the upper back and neck, and I put some pins in, did the old spruce, the acupuncture. And she was like, oh, it's not in my neck. Like the pain's not in my neck. I feel really, really great. And I was like, I walked out after I'd taken the pins. I said, take your time getting ready. Like, you
By
know,
the way, guys, if you're listening to this on SoundCloud, you've got to check the video.
check the
See
video
hand
for this.
signals.
Yeah, there's a lot of hand signals and gesture about it, you know, how hectic we are. But I ended up going, you know, back into the reception area, and I was really pumped about what had happened. And a little bit of context, my clinic is actually, it's an old cottage in Thirroul. So there's an indoor, outdoor kind of interaction. So I have a big veranda that wraps around the main cottage. So each of my rooms flows onto the deck. So oftentimes if I leave the door open or window open to get that airflow in, I'll get a few creepy crawlies. I'll get the odd spider or fly or anything like that. Nothing bigger than that, but a couple of things pop in. Anyway, so because I have lots of indoor plants, there was these little fruit flies that kind of, little aphid things that pop around the tree, and I'm always like batting them away and things like that. Anyway, so I'm in there thinking I'm the bee's knees, and I can't wait for her to rock up and be like, "Hey, Acupuncture's the best. I'll give you $1 million." And I'm like, "Oh, don't worry about the $1 million. Everything's sweet." I do it for the love of it, you know what I mean? And after I finished my Mother Teresa moment, she came into the room and she was like, "Oh, wow, everything's great." And right when I'm about to say that, I take a big, deep breath in. I'm about to say, "Acupuncture's the best. I'm the best." And I take a big breath in, and this little fly goes straight down my throat. And I choke on this fly, right? And I'm coughing and I'm spluttering in front of her. She's like, "What's wrong with you? Is everything all right?" And I'm like, yeah, no, sweet.
That's just the universe telling me to pull my socks up.
Yeah, and I'm like, shit. Like in my head, I'm like, fuck, universe is getting me karma already. Let me have this moment. So I'm coughing it out. And she's like, "Oh, is everything all right?" So I couldn't get to my, you know, acupuncture speech and how fantastic my clinic is and all this stuff. And she ended up anyway, booked another appointment, but I'm sure she left being like, "What happened there? This bloke's a weird bloke."
This guy just had a fit.
He's had a fit, right?
That session.
At the end of the session, so she booked again, and she came a couple of days later. So that's how I like to schedule my appointments, just nip it in the bud. So she came a couple of days later. She comes in for a treatment, and you know, I'm more hesitant at this point, but I put the pins in, and she's like, "Fuck, I just feel fantastic. I'm sleeping better. My energy's better. I just feel like the bee's knees and my
tires
neck."
are getting pumped up again.
Yeah, and like, and I'm just in there like, "Oh fuck, what? I can't do any wrong, can I? Right? Like this is the shit." So anyway, so if you come to my clinic, you know that Wilbur G's put up horizontal chin-up bar so I can hang from my rings, do a couple of stretches, get some movement in my day, and I often show my clients who have problems.
I put up the pull-up bars with the same confidence that I came and assisted Eamon buying his van as well. See if they fall off the wall. It's not on me.
They're not structurally sound, but you know, so far they've carried my rig, so far okay. But anyway, so I was hanging off from this. We digress. So I'm hanging off the bars, and you know, there's always, because you know, the same thing with the fly. There's spider webs and stuff everywhere on the rings. I never really take much notice of them, right? So I'm hanging, I'm taking it easy, right? So I come back out into the reception area, and I'm waiting for her to get ready and come back to the front room. And I'm like, fuck, acupuncture's the best. I'm just doing my dance. I'm like feeling fresh. I'm feeling good, right? Anyway, so she comes in. Just as she walks in, she's like, "Oh, acupuncture, I really like this. I'm going to get my husband in here. I'm going to get my friends in here. This is amazing," right? I go, as soon as I'm like, "Well, acupuncture's the best," this little tiny string of web went out from my eyebrow, and I saw this little fly just swing straight into my eye, and I just go, like, I hit my head, my eye with my hand, open hand, and I'm like spluttering around. I've got this like spider in my eye, and I'm like, "What the fuck? Is it a redback? What's going on with that?" Right?
Am I going to die?
Am I going to die? What the fuck? So I'm like, did karma send me this other thing? And she's like, "Is everything all right? Are you okay?" And I'm like, twice I met this person. Twice I've given a good treatment, and I've like, this is why people don't come to us. This is why we get sad and bad rep.
I do karate, invisible karate, when everyone's watching. I'm trying to
shit
talk.
You not, it's the tiniest little fucking spider, and the fly was even smaller. I'm like, oh my god.
But the universe's message got through.
Yeah, the universe is sending me something. So I checked myself, and I was like, not happening again. And I was just telling Will, and I was like, any time on that week that I tried to pump my own tires up, life wasn't even like, "Oh, you know, in a week time, in a month time, you know, karma will get you, check yourself." It was like immediate. And I was like, what's this about? What's nature going to send next? Fucking boa constrictor or something like that. Come in there, I'm like,
by a snake.
It's wrapped around my neck, and I'm like, shit, like,
acupuncture's great, guys. I'll see you next week.
Yeah. Oh, next lifetime, bro. But yeah, I just want to share that it's like in that same humility standpoint, it was just such a lesson about checking yourself.
It's funny though, isn't it? Because everyone does it. Something goes really well, and it's just that instant self-gratification. And and it's like, yes. And all of a sudden, you know, hopefully it's nothing that's too serious, but you know, the spider on a fly is pretty fucking funny. That's really funny, you know. But if you take notice of the spider and the fly, then nothing dramatic is going to happen. You take notice, you check yourself, you go, listen, you know, I'm not doing this for the gratification. You know, I can, you know, give myself a little internal, well done, mate. You delivered a good service. Let's leave it at that. You know, but if you do carry on and you start to Hollywood yourself about like acupuncture this, acupuncture that, or movement this, movement that, you know, eventually people are going to be like, beat it, mate. Like, you're drinking too much of your own bathwater. Like, get out of here.
And that was the thing. It was such a check, and I was like so weighed down by it because I was like, fuck, I wanted to pump my own tires up. And I was just
this once.
Just this once. I was like, and it's not just that once, let's be honest. I've done it too many times. Yeah. It was just justice, but it was just funny that it happened in that setting, and then I got that accountability, and it was, that humility factor that, like we were talking about, that everyone gets, but it's definitely funny when it kind of hits you straight in the face.
Yeah. Funny when you realise what's happening too.
Yeah.
So good. So funny.
But that's the thing is, like, we fell in that trap. Like, me and Will unpacked that afterwards, and we're like, you know, the calm of the universe. A lot of other people just would have been like, oh, I got attacked by some bugs. You know what I mean? Like, move on.
In the back of my throat. Maybe cough on a customer.
Yeah. But instead, we were trying to unpack and say what the universe is trying to tell us and all this kind of shit. So I don't think that's as helpful and as healthy either. But I definitely realized that my ego was just, I was choking on my own spit, as Ricky Bobby would say. And my ego was just like that. Yeah. But that was for me. What's been happening with you, bud, the last 2 weeks?
The last couple of weeks have been hectic. Lots going on with the new space. Lots going on personally. Anyone that doesn't know, my beautiful wife and I found out that we've known for a little while, but we've announced that we're pregnant, expecting a little bubber in early November. Sorry.
Woo! What star sign's that? And we got
Scorpio.
Scorpio.
Yeah, self-sabotage star sign. But really excited about that, and it's given me a good chance to dive into my why a lot. The last fortnight especially, since we sort of made it public. You know, everyone goes on their own journey with that sort of thing, and you know, we're in a fortunate situation, so that we've both got good work. We can, you know, save good money and, you know, still live a reasonably chilled lifestyle. But I've been sort of leaning more towards the extreme side of things. I don't know what happens. I'm sure other dads or parents listening to this will understand. I've just got a little alarm bells ringing, and they're like, you've got to get this done. You've got to get everything set up. You know, you don't want to be rushing, you know, when Junior comes out, and, you know, you want to spend so much time with them and all this. Like, I'm so amped to be a dad, but I don't want, you know, to be spending all my energy elsewhere. So I'm trying to do that now and, you know, push myself in every which direction. So by the time it comes around, I might be on top of life.
Yeah.
I mean, it's that stupid thing that you think you can get everything sorted, and
but you've lined up probably one of the more hectic years I've heard an individual have, right? How many retreats you got going this year?
So we've had one already in February.
Yeah.
After we got married in January.
Yeah. So married in Jan, retreat in Feb.
Retreat in Feb. Honeymoon.
5 weeks.
5 weeks we were away.
Who's paying for that? Me, probably.
Come on, mate. Short arms, deep pockets. Wouldn't shout it for shark meat, yeah. And then, so we opened the new space in July.
Yeah.
Which is massive. Like, so much goes into it. And to all the people that have done it before, big ups. So there's so many things that go into it that you don't even think about.
110.
You know, and thank you to all the people that have been giving me help and advice along the way with that. Not you, everyone but you. You're supposed to be opening it with me. I never see you.
I'm doing the outside stuff. I'm meeting people.
Feng shui. Yeah, don't put the bed there, man. Lift it up, move it somewhere else. Jesus. And then we go on retreat to Bali at the end of July. For 7 nights. That's our first international retreat, which I'm really excited about. It's going to be great. And then we've got another retreat with the legends at HELP, the Human Evolutionary Life Project. Casey and Josh Cordova, 2 great friends of ours, Really looking forward to collabing with them. And then, yeah, bloody come back October, November, baby.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's a massive year. And like I said, it's given me a great chance to check in with, why I'm doing what I'm doing and checking back into those values. Because no matter what you do, if things get mundane, you start to question everything. And, not that anything's mundane in my life at the moment. It's sort of 15 to 18 hour days most days. Trying to fit as much as I can in. And I was lacking a little bit of inspiration at the end of last week and the start of this week. And my little nephew Noah came for a visit. Quick little backstory on my nephew. He suffered a super rare bowel disease at birth. Spent his first 3 months in hospital. He's had more surgeries than most people ever have in their life, and he's not even 4 yet. His beautiful parents, with the support of our families, just, they do everything they need to for him, and he's the happiest kid, but unfortunately he just keeps hitting health speed bumps, and it breaks my heart. But very early on when that happened, Noah was thrown under the blanket of cerebral palsy, and now it's more of an undiagnosed genetic disease, or genetic disorder, sorry. But just as I was making a transition from being a Sparky into maybe becoming a yoga teacher, I just found out that my nephew was probably going to have cerebral palsy, and not be in all control of his body at all times. And I was randomly walking down the street and ran into a friend of mine that I grew up with in the middle of Sydney. And, he had a friend with him, and I got to chatting and just spilled emotionally. Like, I let it all out, my nephew, my sister, I wish I could do more. And the guy that he was with had cerebral palsy. And he talked me through it, and I couldn't tell other than a slight drag in his right foot. He just dragged his toe a little bit. And he said, look, now you can't tell, but when I was young, my family, my parents, they made me do a lot of movement. They made me run. They made me walk everywhere. A lot of yoga, a lot of hand exercises. And while we were talking, I started to notice he's constantly stretching his hands, constantly moving. And he goes, and that's what you need. You need that constant movement to keep the health. And it was like a lightning bolt hitting the tip of my penis. Stealing your quote from last week. But everything just made sense. Noah came into our lives and needed this help. I was thinking about this transition, and instantly the motivation started to come back. The inspiration started to come back. I got 2 days with him at the start of this week, and I'm super grateful for it, because every time I meet this young boy, not even 4 years old, he just gives me a breath of fresh air, because he's so happy. He doesn't give a shit that he's in and out of hospital. He doesn't give a shit that he's sick. He doesn't give a shit about any of it. Doesn't care who you are. You walk into a room, he smiles at you. He wants to cuddle. Every time I see him, he reminds me how beautiful and precious life is. And I really needed that at the start of the week. So it's just interesting where it comes from.
Yeah.
And just seeing him and my beautiful sister and her partner, it really revived that for me. And, in a month period where things are a little bit tough and I'm, on the grind hard, it was nice to have that, like, this is why you're doing it, man. Like, stay true, stay hungry, stay foolish, chase those goals. So it was, it was nice. It was nice to sit and marinate on that too.
That's fucking nice.
Yeah, it was nice.
Yeah.
It was really nice. So, which brings me to...
But I think that was...
You go.
Because that was like, it's such an interesting thing, and I had to fucking just resonate with me, that whole idea of seeking out motivation. And we were talking about it not like 7 minutes before this podcast started. Yeah. We were talking about what is your motivation, and motivation pushing you to do something. And I'm going to go look on Instagram and see some top rig, and that's what's going to make me lift weight today. Or I'm going to go read this inspirational quote, and that's what's going to make me fucking chase my dreams. But this woman was saying, Mel Robbins, phenomenal lecturer, speaker, author of the 5-second rule, was saying motivation is bullshit. It's bullshit because it's never there when you need it. Life is tough, and things are going to move past you if you don't move with it. Life is not going to just wait and wait for you to go through June or May and waste 2018 and decide, okay, you know what, 2019 is my year. I'm just going to start then. It's bullshit.
It's ridiculous. And it honestly is. And I put up a blog piece at the start of the week saying exactly that. Like, we're now in May, midway through May. How many people have stuck to like the new year, new me? No one. How many people have all these intentions? I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. I'm going to try this. I'm going to try that. Draw it back in. Do the simple things.
Yeah.
You know, like, and it annoys me that at a time of the year, everyone gets so jacked to make a change. Fucking change doesn't happen when everything's going easy. Change happens when shit is hard.
Yeah.
Change happens when you've got no other choice. And you're saying about this lady that, you know, she had 3 months, was it?
3 months of hitting the snooze button
and just not getting out of bed.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there's people that can relate to that, like just not wanting to embrace the day because, you know, the day brings nothing but shitty news for them.
Yeah.
And then, you know, by chance she's watching TV and it's NASA launching a rocket to the moon and she hears the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, we have liftoff, and decides that she's going to implement this 5-second rule into her life.
Yeah.
And so the next morning, 5-second countdown to herself out loud.
Exactly. And for 3 months, she was laying in bed, right? And in the middle of winter, after counting down arbitrarily from at 6 a.m. when her alarm goes off, which she's been hitting the snooze button every day for, she jumps up out of bed and is standing on the cold tiles going, what the fuck have I just done? I just got up out of bed. She broke a habit that she'd done every single day for 3 months. And she was in a depressive state. She was in a bad relationship, not in the sense that she didn't love her partner, but they were just going through a really bad time. And you get stuck, and everyone gets stuck in that. And that's why when she's saying motivation is bullshit, your brain builds habit patterns. It's habitual in nature, and it's patternistic. So it goes on what you do every single day. And if you do something bad every single day, it'll habitually do that every day. It'll gear you towards that. But if you break that pattern, if you actively change it, even though it's fucking hard, your body will build new systems, new neural pathways that are functioning in that way. And what she's talking about is absolutely true. No one's going to break the pattern for you. Motivation is not going to find you. It shouldn't take your nephew to inspire people. People should just be fucking inspired. They should do it because they see him and they're like, fuck, I got to do more. But they should be just moving forward, moving harder.
Yeah, and you've got to use what works for you too. Like, you know, for her it was that, you know, I see this, like maybe I'll try that and see if it works. It worked. I'm not saying that the people that are suffering that at the moment are going to wake up in the morning, count to 5 and it's going to change their life. But you have to find something that's relevant for you and that speaks to you.
Yeah.
Because what speaks for me doesn't speak to you.
Yeah.
What speaks to you doesn't speak to other people. You need to find that thing. You need to connect with it and you need to make it work for you.
Yeah.
You know? And
start simple.
And start so simple.
It's not, yeah. It's the Tony Robbins quote. Tony Robbins fucking nailed it. People...
By the way, you used this last week too.
They used this last week?
You used this last week.
Oh, well, I just fucking love this quote. All right. Well, for those who weren't listening, episode 1, episode 2, you overestimate what you can do in a year, underestimate what you can do in 10 years. And the same thing happens with motivation. The same thing happens with day-to-day.
It's actually a perfect segue into a principle that we've come up with over the last 2 weeks as well. And you can hashtag the shit out of this, everyone. Get it on social media. Get it out there. It's called the BooHoo principle. Now, I'm going to fire a couple little scenarios at E here because it has been a big year of change, not just for me but for E as well. He's got a lot of things happening. He's jumping into the new space. He's got the podcast. He's got another community he's getting down to in Shellharbour. Now, I want you to talk to me about the conversation you have with your beautiful partner, Grace.
Yeah. So I got to preface it. My partner, Grace, and I, we have one of those perfect relationships in which we know what each other's kind of flaws and weaknesses are. We don't exploit them, but we do check each other on our weaknesses in that sense. So we know very much when one of us is like, or when one of us needs a hug, or one of us is just whinging for the sake of whinging.
Or boohooing.
So last week, I had this day in which, I put the pins in someone, I didn't get the result I wanted. The weather was crap. I started getting sick. I don't know if it's come across in this podcast, but I've been a bit man flu-ish the last couple of days. And so last day or so I was sick. Treatment wasn't working. Cash flow was down. Clients were lower than they had been, and sales and all this kind of stuff, plus the expansion in new space. and everything was questioning me, and all this resistance was coming up, and I just felt like, fuck, what am I doing? Like, I just feel like I'm stagnant. I'm just stuck in the mud. I had that real feeling that day. So I call up G and I'm like, oh, babe, like, this was shit and that was shit. And she was like, uh-huh, And I was like, what? And she was like, oh, it's really that bad, is it? It's really that bad, is it? Got your own business, you know what I mean? You got all this stuff happening, yeah, all this expansion. You mean a little resistance? Oh, okay. Yeah, BooHoo. Okay, BooHoo. And I was like, oh, fuck, she's nailed it. Oh, fuck. It just hit me. I was like, it's the BooHoo fact. I'm like, oh, yeah, it's hard. Okay. And it's hard for everybody. Next. I'm like, oh, I didn't get the result that I wanted. Okay. It's medicine, not magic. Move on. BooHoo. And I was like, oh, I'm expanding. Okay. BooHoo. Like, it was just one of these, like, every time.
It happens though, doesn't it? Like, you get so caught up in getting everything that you want that all of a sudden you forget that it's exactly what you asked for.
100%.
So, like, Eamon dreams of opening a new space. Oh, you've opened a successful practice. Eamon now whinges about successful practice. Oh, boo-hoo. You're sorry that you got exactly what you asked for.
Yeah.
Moves into a new space. Oh, you're expanding. Oh, you're employing people. Wait, you asked for that yet?
Yeah.
Oh, shit. Boo, motherfucking who.
Yeah.
Like, and it happens all the time. Like, you think, you look at your life and you're like, oh, man, I'm so stressed. I'm guilty of it right now. I know I just told this story about how I've got so much going on. But everything that's happening is exactly what I wanted.
Yeah.
And it's just like, oh, so you're whinging about getting what you asked for.
Yeah.
There's like no pleases and thank yous with it. But all of a sudden you're like, shit.
Yeah.
Universe, motherfucker, why am I so stressed
Why am I
out?
so stressed?
I get that I asked for it, but did I ask for this exactly?
Yeah. And it's the thing is, we don't want, it's not like we don't want to expand. It's just that you want an easy life. You don't want to grow. You just want it to be easy. And there's a big distinction between happiness and an easy life. And challenge is going to come regardless. And if we want to do the great things we want to do, and if you want to do the great things that you want to do, it's fucking going to be hard.
Sacrifices. You gotta be prepared to bleed a little for the things that you want. You know, and said it last week. We'll say it this week. We'll probably say it every week. But if it was easy, everyone would do it. You know, I had a conversation this week with a really good friend and a mentor of mine, Dan, that runs the gym downstairs. You know, we were getting deep on a few things, and you know, we both got a few things going on externally. And you know, he just wrote me a message, and he's like, "Bro, if it was easy, everyone would do what we're doing. You know, everyone would try and change the game. Everyone would try and do this. But the fact of the matter is, it's not. And if you want to leave a lasting footprint or a lasting, trying to think of the right word, a lasting bloody, what am I thinking of here? I don't know, completely gone blank. We'll go with legacy. Thanks, Joe, the man behind the camera. You know, a lasting legacy, then you have to be prepared to do what others don't, or you'll never get the results that you want.
Yeah.
You know, it's simple.
And even if you don't want that legacy and you don't have that massive Richard Branson fucking dreams, if there's something small and something for yourself, you're going to fail at it regardless. It's going to be hard regardless. Even if it's little thing here, little design company, little whatever, good job, whatever it is, dream thing, it's going to be hard. It's going to be failures.
Yeah, no doubt.
No doubt.
Well, brother, I reckon it's time that we wrap it up. We don't want to burn the people's ears at home too much.
Unless you want to, of course.
Guys, again, we appreciate you listening in. Joey, thanks for your help, brother. E, it's always a pleasure getting deep on the philosophical sass.
Yeah.
You can catch the podcast on YouTube and SoundCloud at the moment, guys. We'll promise to get more technical savvy in the long term and get it on a few other platforms.
Yeah.
Thanks again to the guys at Definition downstairs, always being so accommodating to us running the gym. Ghetto Movement, AccuFit, our two sponsors, unofficially.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're having a ball, guys, and we hope that we're sharing some good stuff with you.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
We'll
Much
talk
love.
again soon. Episode 2, done and dusted, baby.